Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Playbook for Performance podcast. I'm your host, Shauna Corden, and we are on a new month with a new theme. And this month's theme is really about planning 2023. And here's how we got there. There are three things that really affect the success of a change effort. And since we're all going through change pretty dramatically, I thought we'd hit those. Those are leadership, communication, and employee resilience. And I've talked about the first two a fair amount. I haven't talked about resilience a whole ton. But one of the things that I have done in my history to make work fun again is helping people build their personal foundation. And I've put, 150,000 people through this class over the many years I've been teaching it. And I'm inviting all of you to join along. So it's my favorite class to teach, and I think there's so much we can get out of it. So let's get started. So when we come on building your resilience, we don't want it to feel like a must checklist. We really want this to be fed from your personal preferences and your tendencies. And we want to make creating these habits quite easy. And so the very first step that we're going to start with is planning your theme. So the first thing we want to do is review your 2022 so far. What do you want more of and what do you want less of? So let me share some examples that people have shared in class over the years. Clearly, people always want more travel, but they might need to refine it. Do they want more airplane travel? Do they want more, as my uncle called it, town car Holiday Inn? Do they want to buy Harleys and, travel by motorcycle? Or do they want longer extended periods like VRBO for a month versus just a weekend? And what would really feed you? What is the least stressful, the most enjoyable, but also a little bit challenging? It could be something about learning a new language, trying a new cuisine, things like that, because as Anthony Bourdain said, I'm always going to try something because I never know what the next thing is going to be my favorite. Okay? That was a big paraphrase, but you get the hint there. So when we talk about resilience, what we're really talking about is that you have the flexibility to bend versus break. So the analogy we like to use is an oak. Oak is really strong, it's sturdy, it sits there. It can withstand a fair amount of wind, but in a very, very heavy wind, it may actually topple over, roots and all, or it may break. Big branches may break. But if you think about a willow, willows often grow along the stream beds, things like that. They're very flexible. They tend to whip with the wind a little bit, but they stay rooted. They don't come out of place. And so we really want you to feel grounded. We want you to feel like things are solid, God, the universe, the ground, has my back, whatever works for you. The other thing we want to talk about is needs. So probably back in junior high school, you went through your sociology lessons and you learned a little bit about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And sometime over the evolution of the needs, it was created into a pyramid. And the pyramid is arranged for the length of time that you can live without that particular need. So air is at the bottom. We can live for about 3 minutes without air. Water is the next one. We can live for about 3 days without water. Food, you can live for about 3 weeks without food, depending on how trim you are, and so on. And at the very top of this pyramid is self-actualization, which basically means I have figured out my purpose in life and I'm helping other people figure out theirs or accomplish theirs. Okay, and for most people, there's quite a bit of room between kind of air, water, food, shelter, and then that self-actualization. But are you getting your needs met? So one of the analogies we like to use when it comes to needs is that you can't blame others for not getting your needs met. And you need to have a system that is self-watering. So if you think about the modern day sprinkler system for a lawn or a golf course, it is set to a timer to apply as much water as needed during that time of year based on the temperature and humidity and things like that. But what about your own needs? I personally have a need for alone time. If I don't get it, my poor family, they suffer, because I just take it when I'm with them. I just ignore them. It's a terrible habit, but that is how I behave because I need it. And I can't do anything else until I've got that figured out. And then there's wants. So you can think of your wants as sort of your bucket list items. It might be places you want to travel to. It might be hobbies you want to start. It might be friends that you want to grow or groom, relationships you want to develop, things like that. So these are really the components of what we want your theme to be about. And we're going to put a PDF out on the website so you can download it. We'll have it in the show notes. But basically, your assignment is to come up with a theme. And I've had some great themes that people have come up with. Sometimes it's a single word. So this year, my 2022 theme was now. And it was a little bit like that David Allen getting things done idea of if it takes 2 minutes or less, do it now. Or, don't postpone, do it now, that kind of thing. That was part of my theme. So it could be something like that. There's a lot of great things that people have come up with over the years in class that I really admire. I think they're great. So each lesson is its own lesson. So don't feel like, oh, I missed week 1, I can't start week 2. That's not what it's about. But because there is a new lesson each week, we want you to have a goal for that week. Now, over the years, our next lesson is going to be about tolerations, okay? And I'm going to make sure that I write that down so that all of you know, and I keep myself honest here. So some people just list 50 tolerations. I can't keep my house plants alive. My windows are dirty. I'm making less than I deserve, yada, yada, yada. And each week they would tackle 5 tolerations. That's fine. If that's your goal, great. If you were going to lose weight, you might say your weekly goal is 1 pound. Okay? But each week that you meet your goal, we want you to have a carrot for yourself. And that is the thing that's pulling you towards it. That's kind of a reward. We want to make sure that the reward reinforces the goal that you have. So if your goal was to get organized, your carrot might be to spend a little bit more money on the organizing bins that you spend or that you use to organize things. And we also want you to have, we don't like to call it a punishment because we make the distinction of a punishment being something that's unpleasant for you and you don't get any benefit out of it. Think of a spanking, that's a punishment. But we do want you to have a consequence, and I'm calling that a jump start. A consequence is something that you actually benefit from. So probably one of my favorite consequences, a very popular one with my students, is to clean something you've been procrastinating on. So clean out the garage, clean out the hall closet, organize the silverware drawer and vacuum the crumbs out of it, whatever it might be. Those could be, those are good examples of that jump start or consequence compared to the carrot. And then, of course, we want you to reward yourselves. And so some of my favorite rewards that people have given themselves are things like, well, I have a weekly happy hour date with my friends, and I always order the modest glass of wine, but on the weeks that I meet my goal, I'm going to order the one I really want. So it might be that. If you are trying to lose weight or you're trying to up your fitness game, it might be that, after a month of meeting your goal, you get a new pair of workout shoes or something like that. Sometimes it's donating to a charity. It's really quite fun. Be creative, but definitely keep a chart, because statistics show that people who, for example, are trying to lose weight and they plot their progress on a graph, those are the ones who are most successful, because they're seeing the positive reinforcement, they're seeing what's coming, they're anticipating, and they've got that visual reminder. So in the PDF, you'll have an opportunity to put in your weekly goal. You're going to put in what your reward is for meeting that goal and your consequence for not making that goal. And if you need to expand this out because you want to have a different goal each week, great, go for it. I do encourage you to recruit people. So there's lots of strength in numbers. So, and I really believe that a rising tide lifts all boats. So get your coworkers, get your family, get your friends to also take the challenge. It will be about 20 weeks. Again, you don't have, if you're going on vacation, you want to take a week off, great. You don't have to do them in order. But the idea is we're just trying to grow and have some structure to that growth that we really, really want. So again, next week we're going to be talking about tolerations, but this week is all about let's set the theme, let's build our resilience, and together we can handle change a lot better. So if you liked our podcast or our YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have comments, if you need help, please send a message to podcast@shawnacorden.com. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week.